For more than 2 millennia, it was but a myth, rumors of a lost tomb, buried under a city that rose up over its very corpse. But all that changed when a giant sarcophagus was discovered under the streets of contemporary Alexandria. When researchers forced it open, what they encountered wasn't just peculiar, it was unnerving. Could this be the last chapter of a centuries-long mystery, or merely the start of something much darker? One forgotten detail, far in the back of the room, has raised questions that no one is ready to answer. It's not history, it's what happens when the past will no longer remain buried. A routine construction project in Alexandria's Sidi Gabor district in July 2018 took an unexpected turn. When employees excavated the foundation for a new construction project, their equipment hit a hard surface, quickly discovered to be the cover of a gigantic, ancient monument. It was a black granite sarcophagus that measured 9 feet long, more than 5 feet wide, 6 feet high, and weighed about 30 tons. Sealed and left alone for over 2,000 years, its discovery created a media frenzy. The discovery's close proximity to ancient Alexandria, the city Alexander the Great founded, fueled instant speculation. Was the tomb of one of history's greatest legends finally discovered? Might it be Alexander himself? Newspapers went wild, social media was abuzz, and conspiracy theories sprouted, even as archaeologists called for restraint. When the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities opened the sarcophagus, expectation was at its highest. But to find royal remains or inscriptions, no. They discovered something much more bizarre, 3 skeletons in a reddish-brown liquid. 2 men and a woman, already decomposing and immersed in a foul mixture of water seepage and rotten organic substances. The stench was atrocious. There were no inscriptions, no amulets, no royal symbols, none of the usual signs of a prestigious burial. This raised an unsettling question: who were these people, and why were they interred in such a monumental tomb? Could the chamber have been reused, its original occupant removed or hidden long ago? Tests were done on the enigmatic liquid, which the internet playfully referred to as cursed juice. Although there were no supernatural aspects proven, the peculiar formula only added to the enigma. Although this wasn't Alexander's tomb, it sparked global interest once again in the secrets that still lay hidden beneath Alexandria. Following the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BCE, his tomb was one of the most sacred monuments of the ancient world. Originally buried in Memphis, his remains were eventually transferred to Alexandria, the city he founded. The historians depict a splendid tomb, worthy of a man who was considered not just a military mastermind but a near-divine being. For centuries, emperors, pilgrims, and ambassadors frequented the site. Julius Caesar allegedly cried at the sight of Alexander's corpse during his Egyptian campaign. Augustus allegedly saw the mummified corpse and even broke its nose. Roman emperors such as Caligula and Septimius Severus made pilgrimages to the tomb, attesting to its continued significance even into the Roman period. But then, at a moment's notice, all the references drop away. By the 4th century AD, the tomb becomes invisible to history. People have argued for centuries what might have become of it. Was it perhaps destroyed by earthquakes or floods? Or was it buried or mutilated when the empire converted to Christianity, as part of a larger campaign to eliminate pagan imagery? As Alexandria grew from ancient capital to modern city, layer upon layer of urban growth probably interred whatever was left of the tomb. Streets, buildings, and neighborhoods now hide the once holy ground. No one has ever positively determined the tomb's location after decades of archaeological searches. Its loss is one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries, an epic consumed by stone, silence, and time. In the north of Greece, close to ancient Amphipolis, a gigantic burial site was found in 2012 that immediately made international headlines. The Casta tomb, as it's been named, is the biggest tomb discovered in Greece, and it stands from the late 4th century BCE, the same time period when Alexander the Great died. With its perimeter measuring almost 500 meters, its colossal size dwarfed all other burials of its time. The sheer magnitude and advanced engineering implied that the tomb must have been constructed for someone of vast significance, someone possibly even of the royal Argead house, Alexander's own family. As the digs went on, the tomb revealed a succession of remarkable artistic and architectural details. Two sphinxes of stone guarded the entrance, mythical creatures traditionally linked to divine guardianship. More deeply in the tomb, two superbly crafted caryatids, women employed as columns, guarded another threshold, underlining the tomb's ritualistic nature. A wealthily carved mosaic was discovered, illustrating the abduction of Persephone by Hades, a myth rich in symbolism of death, resurrection, and transition into the underworld. These features were not there for show. They suggested a burial infused with religious symbolism and perhaps connected to a personage of divine or regal status, repeating the mythic figure that Alexander had lived. When the archaeologists reached the inner sanctum at last, they discovered 5 skeletal remains, an over 60-year-old woman, 2 men aged 35 to 45, a newborn baby, and 1 cremated person. With them were splinters of a wooden coffin, golden ornaments, and traces of weapons. The variety of the burials made experts wonder, was it a dynastic tomb, or a reused one over the centuries? What was notable was the simultaneity of burial and cremation, an uncommon couple for that time. It posed interesting questions about who the dead were and why they occupied the same consecrated space. More interesting still were the art motifs in the tomb, stars, rosettes, and Macedonian shields, iconography strongly resonant with Alexander's royal lineage. Though there is no academic agreement on who might be within, most suspect it to be one of Alexander's innermost circle, possibly his mother Olympias, his best friend Hephaestion, or one of his leading generals. There is no definitive connection to Alexander himself, but the tomb's timing, opulence, and symbolism have left it at the center of speculation regarding his lasting legacy. In a peaceful but remarkable development, a highly limited excavation in Alexandria revealed an alabaster sarcophagus that was unlike anything previously discovered within the region. Sealed with a great deal of thick, amber resin and devoid of any inscriptions, the sarcophagus was found buried deep under a section of the city long known to harbor traces of its ancient royal quarter. The secrecy of the excavation, no press coverage, no official statement, and strict government control, sparked off the bat rumors that something amazing had been discovered. Rumors spread from insiders that this might be connected to one of the greatest mysteries in history, the burial site of Alexander the Great. Within the sarcophagus was the incredibly well-preserved body of a man, said to be in his early 30s, the same age as which Alexander is thought to have died. Leaked documents quoted anonymous sources who said that the body revealed the marks of a warrior's existence, a healed leg fracture, extensive scarring across the ribcage, and a healed wound at the nape of the neck. These are consistent with historical reports of wounds Alexander received on campaigns, such as a nearly fatal wound in India. While no official DNA findings were published, the physical evidence alone caused shockwaves in the archaeological community. More puzzling was the state of the body. It had been preserved with a process more sophisticated than any known at the time in the late 4th century BCE. Authorities called it a hybrid embalming technique, combining Egyptian mummification with unidentified chemical agents not mentioned in any contemporary documents. The resin applied to seal the sarcophagus also contained materials normally found in royal burial compounds, which indicates the body was intentionally preserved in order to last the ages, or, maybe, even to hide. Among the few remains recovered with the body was a gold diadem of royal type and a medallion bearing the image of Zeus Ammon, the god Alexander asserted as his divine father after reaching the Siwa oasis. These pieces generated hypothesis that the tomb would have been constructed to honor or hide someone who was thought to have divine lineage. Though not confirmed, the find has reopened world debate. Has Alexander's tomb at last been uncovered? Or has someone always been aware of its resting place, and kept it hidden? After the alabaster sarcophagus was found along with its mummified occupant, rumors of a cover-up started circulating. Internal reports supposedly indicated that the DNA had been quietly analyzed and matched against markers from Macedonian royal tombs that were known. Some insiders suggested genetic correspondences, potentially linking the remains to the Argead dynasty. But with each passing day of anticipation, the news dried up. Weeks became months without a word, and scientists working on the project quit granting interviews. The site was again sealed with armed guards, and overtures by foreign scholars for cooperation were refused. The only result was to fuel suspicion. There are some theorists who think that verification of the identity of Alexander could instigate geopolitical and cultural tensions, not only between Egypt and Greece, but also in the larger historical community. Others think it could destroy long-held religious or historical precepts. More mystery is foisted on accounts of a sealed tomb close to the central burial chamber, unopened to this day, leaked building scans allege. The reasons for waiting are different. Some say the building is unsafe, others point to bureaucratic delay or an attempt to hold off discovery until the world of science is ready. Whatever the reality, that sealed chamber still hidden beneath Alexandria potentially contains artifacts, writings, or even further remains, possibly the ultimate evidence for Alexander's tomb. But in the absence of formal verification, rumor proliferates. And the lack of transparency has only fueled conspiracy theories. Some think that powerful forces are actively suppressing the find in order not to risk political repercussions or to challenge prevailing historical paradigms. The Egyptian government's silence has turned out to be deafening in this instance. While the excavation site is still sealed and the world kept in the dark, the implications of what was possibly discovered continue to reverberate far beyond the tomb.